Welcome back to the channel today, guys. Your eyes are not deceiving you. It is finally time to sit and talk about the One Piece live action show. Now, I could very easily just sit here and talk to you guys and say, I like the show, I don't like the show, and do all that kind of stuff. But that's boring. So I scoured the web for all of about 2 minutes, very valuable time, and I found this article on Men's Health talking about the biggest differences between the anime, manga, and live action versions. And I thought that'd be interesting to go over with you guys as we talk about the show itself. Now, before we even get into this, I guess I should give you my overall impression of the show. And let me just say, I can't believe it. I can't believe they did a good job. Because the One Piece live action show is a thumbs up for me, guys. I'm shocked to my core that it's actually pretty good. It probably is the best live action we've gotten, besides maybe like the Rurouni Kenshin one. But even then, like, I was blown away watching the show. I couldn't believe it. You can feel the love they put into it. All this time, we were all speculating that, there's going to be so much love put into this show. It's going to be so good. They put a lot of attention to detail. And they really did. Now, obviously there are differences. And there are some things that are changed around. Some things a lot more significant than others. Let's say that. But that's why we got this article. So let's get into it. Let's start talking about this show. Alright. The live-action version of the fan-favorite manga and anime One Piece was much awaited by fans. And its recent release on Netflix has led to many memes, discussions, and even talk about the next season. But of course, whenever a TV show or movie comes with its own base material, there are always fears that plot lines may be lost or key characters could be changed. Luckily, fans have been praising Netflix for sticking pretty closely to the original story, including the fight scenes and clever foreshadowing. Now, that's true. The fight scenes in this show are actually done really well. And I'm going to tell you now, that is shocking. Because One Piece, we all know One Piece is one of the most ridiculous shows ever. One of the goofiest anime. By far the goofiest shonen series that has ridiculous looking characters, ridiculous over the top powers, and a world that, quite frankly, doesn't even understand itself. So the fight scenes were always going to be a challenge. And I think they did a really good job on them. Truthfully, I do. I think for what they had to work with, they did a damn good job. Especially Zoro's fight scenes. But let's keep reading. But since One Piece is spread over 100 volumes and contains over 1,000 chapters, there are some changes that had to be made, obviously. And while some were apparent, others were quite subtle. They really were. Now, here's what you need to know about the differences between the live-action One Piece compared to the manga and anime. Let's get into it. Let's talk about some of these differences. A surprise addition to Gold Roger's execution. The first episode of the live-action Romance Dawn sets the scene for the pirates' search for Gold Roger's One Piece hidden treasure. In the anime and manga, Vice Admiral Garp isn't present for Gold Roger's execution, but in the Netflix version, he is. Now, I saw a lot of people saying, oh man, I can't believe they actually showed them executing Roger. And if I remember right, I'm pretty sure they do that in the manga, just not in the anime. So I don't get why that's confusing, but Garp is a big topic for contention in this show. Garp is a little divisive. I remember when I first saw Garp on the podium with Roger, and I literally thought to myself, like, wait, was Garp here? No, Garp wasn't here, was he? And that's how I feel going throughout this whole season because Garp is present everywhere. They really accelerated this man's arrival. And I don't know the repercussions that's going to have later. But for the first couple episodes, it did feel very weird to have Garp there already. It felt a little out of place. And even the actor portraying Garp, it felt a little strange. And I know a lot of people share that sentiment. I've seen it constantly over these past 2 weeks that the show's been out. That Garp was a little iffy in the beginning. But I will say that as we go further in the season, I start to like Garp more, personally. I think the actor starts coming into the character a bit better, and it feels a little more natural as we progress through the season. But Garp in the beginning, a little touch and go, let's be real. Now, Nami's backstory is changed. It is a little bit. The manga and anime lay out that Nami's village knew that she was collecting their ransom money and pretended to dislike her so she would stop attempting to save them. But in the live action, they fully believe that she's acting selfishly and not in their best interest. Now, this is a little bit more of a serious change because this changes the context of a lot of relationships in the show. It kind of does. I feel like them knowing that what Nami's doing in the anime adds a lot of emotion to it all. That they know that she's doing all this for their sake, but they know that it's pointless, that, they can't ever stop Arlong. So they're being this way to her to make her stop, so she doesn't waste her life and waste her time on a hopeless fight. In the live action, with them just thinking that they betrayed her, it kind of does cut into the emotion a little bit. I will say that. But it's nothing crazy. It's nothing that completely destroys the scene, in my opinion, because I still think that Nami's done very well. I think Nami actually might be one of the best performances in the show, in my opinion. I really do think that. I think she is portrayed pretty well overall. Her and Luffy, actually. I see a lot of people not like Luffy in this, but I think Anaki, he does a really good job as Luffy, actually. But we'll talk about that a little later. But Nami, overall, I think was done good. And this scene, it is a bit different from in the anime. And it does change it a decent amount. But it's nothing that ruins the scene, I will say. So, Nami gets a little bit of a pass for me on that. But it would have been more emotional if they did know. We all know that. Buggy! Buggy the Clown is more present in the live action. Yes, he is. Much to viewers' fear or delight, the captain of the Buggy Pirates has a much larger role in the Netflix series, and he's much scarier. In the manga and anime, Buggy is portrayed with a humorous slant, but in the live action, he's all scares. I'm gonna tell you guys right now, I like Buggy in the live action. I actually really do like him. When you watch the trailers and you see Buggy's trailer and you see him in the makeup, you're only gonna have really two takeaways from that. You're gonna think, I'm excited to see this, or wow, this looks garbage. They massacred my boy. And I was kind of on the fence in between. I really liked how he looked, but I didn't know how the portrayal would be in the live action. And I can tell you guys right now, Buggy's great. I love Buggy. I thought I'd be a little annoyed that he got more screen time. I think it was great. Give him even more screen time. The actor that portrayed him did a great job. Even if he is more intimidating in the live action, I do like his portrayal quite a bit. I think overall he kind of captures the spirit of the character, even if he is a bit more edgy. Because we're Americans. We got to make things more edgy. But Buggy, I think, is a great addition to the show. A great change that we got in this season. That excited for. I never thought a day in my life when I saw the end scene with Buggy and Alveda talking with each other, plotting their next move together. I never thought in a million years I would be excited to see that shit. There's no way I ever thought I'd be on board for like, yeah, Buggy, come on. Come get him, Buggy. I never thought I'd say that shit. But here we are. And that's a testament to how good they did in the live action with him. Here we go. Garp. Yet again, we talked a bit about Garp, but I'll go over this already. Garp is Vice Admiral of the Marines, Luffy's grandfather, and Kobe's mentor. In the manga and anime, viewers and readers didn't get this information until much later, but the live action offers this pretty early on. Yeah, if they stuck with their original pacing, like if we kept the pacing from this season carried on, Garp would be like a season 3, maybe even season 4 kind of character, guys. His information's not supposed to get found out until a decent amount later. But they really brought him forward. And the character they brought him forward with is Kobe. Let's talk about Kobe a bit. Because Kobe got a lot more screen time in the live action. And I gotta say, I think it's a good change overall. I do. I think it's a nice change. I'll tell you now, in the first episode or two, I didn't know how I'd feel about it. Because you can tell immediately that Kobe's going to be more of a main focal point, which he was in the live action. You could tell. And I had no clue how I felt about that. But I gotta say, I think I really liked it. That throughout our season, we get Kobe's little subplot with Garp and all that. And I really enjoy that. See, they take two things you're on the fence about. They combine them together earlier. Because obviously Garp is Kobe's mentor in the anime and manga as well. They take these two characters and they show us their relationship even earlier on. Which for the live action, I think is only going to help it as we get further and further into our series. I'm just going to say, if we ever get to Marineford, and we get that Kobe scene, that shit's going to go crazy because we've had all this time with Kobe now. So, I'm a big fan of Kobe, actually. Which, again, you never would have caught me saying. At least early Kobe. Early series Kobe, at least. You never would have caught me saying I like him. But the live action did a good job with him. Yes, something I love is episode 5. Sorry, fans of the anime. The removal of the Usopp Pirates. In the manga and anime, Usopp was captain of the Usopp Pirates, which was made up of 3 young boys named Tamanagi, Ninjin, and Pima. So far, they haven't been seen in the live action. And I'm telling you guys right now, I was so happy with that change. Because here's something you guys might not have known. I actually went through the anime a little bit just to kind of refresh my memory of things. I didn't remember early One Piece, dude. I hadn't seen that since I was a kid. I didn't remember much of the differences. But when I got to Usopp in Syrup Village with his kids, my God, did the show drag and drag, man. I'll tell you now, no offense, One Piece fans, which I guess I am one of them. Early One Piece is a slog to get through. My God, it did not age well, dude. It's rough. And the Usopp Pirates, these kids, I think are a main part of it in that arc. They kind of drag it down. I didn't like how in the anime Usopp was super childish and just mega immature and annoying. And I know what you're going to say. That, he's supposed to be that way. That's the point. Doesn't make him less annoying as hell, guys. And I like how in the anime in the live action, they did tone him down a bit. Now, I don't know how I love the actor who portrays him. I don't know how much I like him as Usopp. I think out of all of the characters, actually, I think his performance was probably the weakest. And I'm not saying he did bad, but he did the worst out of everyone. Just saying. And I'm very glad they cut out the Usopp pirates. No offense, guys. I didn't want to sit through that. So I'm really happy they cut that out and just went straight with Kaya. Super glad about that. And the overall vibe of the show is a bit darker. That is true. The manga and anime version of One Piece is lighthearted and funnier than the live action, which is very true. One Piece at its core is a very goofy series. And the live action is definitely more darker. Again, American, edgy. But I do think that they did a very good job of capturing the essence of the series. Even with, we'll talk about Luffy's character now. Our boy Monkey D. Luffy right here. In the beginning of One Piece, he is very immature and goofy. He doesn't really grasp how the world is and how serious things can be. And I like how in the live action, they do make him a little more serious. They make him a little more aware of the consequences of his actions. Which he does do in the anime, to be fair, but it takes a long time. And I like to think that in these 8 episodes, they really did give Luffy a pretty good character arc already, where he has to get out of that immature mindset of his and realize that, no, this is the real world now, Luffy. This isn't fun and games anymore. You're really doing this now. Like, people can die. Your crew, everyone on your crew, their life is in your hands. They could die if you make a wrong decision. And you have to be aware of that. That's your role as the captain. And I like how in the live action, he is more serious. And I love the scenes where he sits with Zoro after his fight with Mihawk, which we'll talk about in a second, where we really sit with him and he feels it. Like, this is the consequences of me not stopping you or anything like that. This is the consequences of me being a captain, not being able to protect you. And I love that they portrayed that in a very, like, realistic way. And I really like that. Again, I think Luffy's live action actor did a very good job. Now, the best performances in this show. I told you guys I really like Nami and Luffy. But the 2 best performances, I think hands down, are Zoro and Sanji. We can all agree on that, right? We'll talk about Sanji first. I can't believe how perfect the casting is for Sanji. Like, I wish they would have mentioned him here because, boy, Sanji's great. He might actually be one of my favorite parts of this. They nailed him to a T. And they even cut down on a lot of his, like, advances towards Nami and all that, which I think is actually much better in the live action. You know, because in the anime, man, this man doesn't get the hell off her. He is, like, persistent to the point of being ridiculous. But he's far more subtle in the live action, you know? And he's romancing everyone. He's throwing out lines and all that. He's even trying to romance Nami's sister at the end of the season. You know, I think he was great. And I even heard that the actor himself went through a lot of training just fighting with his feet just so he could perfectly become Sanji. And that just sounds really cool to me, honestly. His portrayal is very good. Man, his scenes with Zeph, they are really good. They did those scenes incredibly well, actually. You really feel it. When they're on the rock and they're stranded out there, you really feel the emotion, man. Because they really make you sit with it. It's a really long, extended scene of us seeing just Sanji decay away over time as they're sitting on this rock. And him going and seeing that Zeph ate his own leg and gave him all the food. Like, that scene hit. It hit really hard in the live action and really showcases their relationship. They portrayed their relationship extremely well, to the point that when Sanji actually left with the Straw Hats and Zeph did his farewell to him, I got a little emotional because they really captured these two's relationship. How Zeph is basically his father. Like, we're not going to get into later spoilers. Zeph is his father. 100% his father. And they really captured that here. They did an amazing job with that. And speaking of amazing job, let's talk about our boy Zoro. Yo, they killed it. They killed Zoro. Every scene Zoro's in, he kind of steals the show. Let's be honest. His fights were by far the best. Again, the live action has done a really good job with the fights. And Zoro's no exception. Every time he's on screen, again, he captures the audience's attention. And they know it too, because they have a great actor that really portrays his character very well. I believe he's the actor that was in the Rurouni Kenshin live action. So he obviously knows how to handle swords, and you can tell in the choreography. I'll tell you guys now, I thought it would look ridiculous with him with the sword in his mouth doing the three sword style. Me and everyone else, I'm sure, thought that would look absolutely freaking ridiculous and stupid. But it looks good. It looks pretty good, actually. It's shocking. It's shocking how good it actually kind of looks and how it fits. Man, his fight with Mihawk, I think they did it really well, actually. I actually think they did his fight with Mihawk very, very well. It perfectly showcases the humongous gap between these two. It's still so funny to me to see Mihawk pull out the little dagger and just absolutely destroy Zoro. Even in the live action, they did a great job of it. Man, Mihawk's actor, give me more of Mihawk, dude, please. I really loved him in this. Obviously, they give us more, it's going to throw everything out of whack, the show, but yo, they really captured Mihawk well. Every scene he's in as well, they steal the show. Him and Zoro were fighting for the camera during that fight scene because both of them are just so electric on screen. Mihawk was great. Dude, I loved Mihawk to death. He was amazing. But just Zoro's vow to Luffy to become the strongest and to never lose again until he does. I think even in the live action show, they did a very good job with that scene. It felt a little corny. There's definitely corny moments in this show. Let me tell y'all that. That felt a little corny, but again, you feel the emotion. You feel all this emotion from him bubbling up from years and years. Even with the flashbacks we got from him as a kid. We see all these emotions bubbling up to the surface in this scene, and I think they did it really, really well. Now, I've sat here and praised the show a lot, because there's a lot to praise, surprisingly. But we do have some things that I don't like, that I will talk about now. Again, I mentioned Garp in the beginning, how I didn't love his inclusion, but he came around towards the end for me. Something I don't think they did very well is a lot of, makeup and just how characters look. I think we can all agree on that. We all don't like how Arlong looks. Arlong looks ridiculous, and so does his fishmen. You guys need to go and look at some of his fishmen. Go find the episode and pause in on one of his men. They look bad. They look bad, especially the dude with the puffer fucking lips. He looks really bad. They look ridiculous. I will say, I think the actor who played Arlong played him pretty well, actually. And he started to come around for me towards the end. But everyone else didn't look bad. And sometimes the sets on the show can be hit or miss. Sometimes they look really good. And sometimes they look a little cheap. But that's just because this show's so expensive, I imagine. But again, just makeup-wise, it could be hit or miss. And obviously, the CG in the show is very hit or miss. There are some scenes that do not look good. Flat out, one scene I think looks really, really bad, and I was laughing my ass off during, was when Luffy bounced the cannonball back against Garp. Y'all know what I'm talking about. That shit looked bad. It looked really, really bad. And it makes me a little worried about the future of the series as we start getting more wild places, more wild characters and powers. Like, how the hell are they going to do Chopper? How are they going to do Chopper? Chopper's literally going to be next season if we get one. How the hell are they going to do Chopper? I don't know, man, but it's crazy. I will say, seeing Smoker at the end of the season, pretty cool. I did like that. I'd love to see how he's portrayed in the next season. But that's really my overall thoughts on the One Piece show. If I had to give it a rating out of 1 to 10, I think I would actually give it... I think I would give it an 8.5, actually. Now, you can say that's a cop-out answer, but I don't think it's good enough to be a 9 or a 10, but I think it's way too good to be an 8 or lower. So 8.5 is my take on this show, because they really did a good job. You know they did a good job when they leave you wanting more. That is the main point of these shows. They make you want more. That means it was a success. And in 84 countries, the One Piece live action show was number 1 on Netflix. This is Netflix's biggest show ever. Biggest premiere, biggest show. So I think it's pretty safe to say we're getting another season. And I just want to see that. I just want to see how they handle the show moving forward. They left us wanting more, and that is the best feeling ever. I wonder how many people went and watched the anime after Netflix. So I'm pretty sure the anime is like one of the top 10s on Netflix right now because of the live action. I wonder how many people really went and watched the anime after this. I did, so I guess they got me with that too. I really wonder though. Like, this might re-spark people's interest in One Piece. And that's an amazing thing. Because more people loving anime is obviously a great thing for the community and just for yourself, because One Piece is a good show. But overall, they killed it. I'm very happy with it, and I want to see where they go from here. So you guys let me know your thoughts on this down below. You can take as long as you want in my comments. I don't care. You could write me a paragraph. Just let me know your real, true thoughts on this show, because I think it's pretty damn good. So let me know what you think. But yeah, guys, this show might open the door for more live action series in the future, if they're done well and have the passion put into it like One Piece did. And if that's the case, I welcome them with open arms. So until next time, guys, I hope you have a great day, week, month, and year. And until then, deuces, have a blessed day, and I'll see you guys next time. Deuces.